The atmosphere of the old Minecraft has been lost. But is that so bad? Even though Minecraft is already out of its golden era when videos were pouring out in trends, the format of each video was unique. But still, is that bad? Or is it just us growing up? I remember as a little kid, I was playing Minecraft from a disc and while building, heard this sound. My first house looked like garbage and had one purpose: protect me from the monsters outside. And now the game has been completely transformed. There are so many mobs now, so many new blocks, and so many new different servers. Or is that not true? Has Minecraft even changed? To answer this question, we should move back to 2010. It was then that Marcus Persson, the former owner and creator of Minecraft, decided to release his creation. And at that time, it looked like this. Not very impressive, right? But it was during these years and from this version that a strong fan base of the game has been created, which supported the game and played it, with someone even making mods for such an old version just because. And now after a year comes the biggest update that will change and turn Minecraft upside down. Adventure update. If before the game looked like a sandbox with survival elements, after this update the game now looks like a survival with sandbox elements. A hunger scale was added, as well as new textures and the new terrain generation. Hey, with so many new things, why are so many players not happy with this update? Oddly enough, the answer is quite simple. It changed and killed the old Minecraft. Yes, that's when there were still those ardent fans who now make videos on the topic of dead Minecraft that the developers killed. It's the oldest part of the community, and most likely they have grown up and even forgotten about the game now. One of the most criticized changes was the new generation system. If a player loads a world created before the update and goes to explore the new chunks, the world will be broken, causing world generation inconsistencies between the old and the new chunks. This also means that the old seeds won't work. Minecraft had already been around for a year, and who knows what players had managed to build in that time. This huge update not only changed the basic aspects of the game, but also ruined the old Minecraft completely. Taking a huge leap, of course, after this, people split into two factions. Some people claimed that it made the game more complex and that Minecraft was now a game about combat and survival rather than the simple sandbox it was in the early stages of development. Others praised the features added in the update and noted that they made the game more exciting and challenging. Many players rejoiced at the addition of the long-awaited creative mode, which removes all survival aspects from the game, allowing players to focus solely on building. But one thing Marcus Persson figured out for himself was that if people don't like big updates like this, then there won't be any more, which is why there were no more big updates, that is, until Microsoft bought out Mojang. Did the game need it? Many people liked Minecraft because of its low content saturation and visual simplicity. Earlier there was one village and its style changed depending on the biome. Now they look like as if it's some kind of suburb or was created by the player himself. Judge for yourself. Before, such buildings were considered the standard of beauty, and everyone copied and built the same. Nowadays it's rubbish, for which you would be laughed at and your parents would reject you. It used to be cool because there weren't, and every new half block or block was very valuable addition that allowed you to change and make your building a little bit better than it was. The world was so initiative and simple that even after a few years, I remember everything in detail about each biome, which contained some structures that added to the world. And now there are so many that I don't have enough fingers to count them. The sounds expanded the world and your immersion in the game. The same sounds of caves sound so creepy, some players simply delete the world. Who knows what could be making those noises? Whoa. Sorry to distract you from the video, but I want to invite you to my Discord server. I want to hold an event with 100 players in Minecraft. Interested? Then join the Discord, and the video continues. It should be noted that the most important part of the game's atmosphere is its audio component. After all, watching the sunset with such music makes you think about it so much. In the beta version of the game, there are 12 music tracks, the total length of about 30 minutes. Also in March 2011, the official soundtrack of the game was released. It is known that in one of the old versions of the game, there was a track, Calm Form, written by Notch himself and later deleted. It is now playing. After that, new tracks were added to the game. The music update added several tracks made by C418 from Minecraft Volume Beta album, and an additional track, Boss, that was not previously included in the game. After that, the music in the game was not updated for several years until underwater tracks, also written by C418, were added for the version 1.13. More recently, the developers have added new tracks with almost every major new update, including 1.16, 1.18, 1.19, and 1.20. These tracks were written by other composers. The tracks were Trails and Tales written by Aaron Sheriff, but it's worth mentioning that it was C418 who made the most significant contribution to the development of the game's music. After all, his old and very deep music is better than the new ones released for the game. So is Microsoft to blame for killing the game and distancing it from the old concept? No. The game is divided into two parts, which are Java, which is supported by Mojang and Microsoft developers, and Bedrock, which is supported by Mojang only. So the mobile version keeps all the old vibe and continues as it was in the golden era? No. Look what they did to my boy. Are the developers the ones who killed the same Minecraft we love so much? I'm not even going to defend them, of course not. After all, the vibe of the old game was that there was a mini door update once a year. Good luck keeping yourself entertained in the game. Bye! The main popularity was due to the game's huge boom on YouTube, where every other person was making videos on the game. Years went by and the popularity started to dwindle because the game was not something new. It was the same old, and only sometimes, once a year, came out updates that brought something a little. That's when the developers had no choice but to take over the game and release major updates to attract new people and bring old people back to the game. Because if they hadn't done that and kept the old atmosphere of the game, what would have happened? Would we have seen another update, an Elytra update, or an End update? You gotta agree, it is better to have an actively growing game than one that players only remember when they have nothing else to play and want a little nostalgia. That's why we can say that the old atmosphere of the game has been lost and cannot be brought, because there is a new one that is actively growing and will provide us with content for the next few years. But none of this means that the community didn't do anything of their own to contribute to the game. Every bug in the game was recognized as a feature that people used. Even the creeper was originally a pig bug, but later the community liked it so much that it was decided to make it a full-fledged mob that would annoy players the most. Thanks to such bugs, an active search began for them in the game. Sometimes there were fakes, people who just wanted to attract attention to themselves, but thanks to one such bug case, a myth arose, which gave such a big jump up the game that this can't be described. Many have probably already guessed who I'm talking about, the Herobrine, a mysterious entity that appeared to players in the world and created a lot of anomalies and hypotheses about who it is, with video and fake evidence only fueled players to look for it in the worlds and fear them. Was it really Notch's dead brother? Is it the game developers playing a joke by invading your world? Is it a new mob? As time went on, everyone began to realize that it was just a fake and there was no Herobrine, with the developers' removal of him and the update description finally put an end to it. But as our god said, humans are dumb creatures, especially Minecrafters. And so after the era of Herobrine came the era of chaos. What chaos? Oh, that's right. So many players came up with different stories. What is wrong with you? Green Steve, which is kind of cool. Some Lucas, who even are you? White Enderman. This creepypasta is lucky it's from the distant past. People used to make up all kinds of stories and stuff, but back in the day, it worked. For example, did you know that all of Nether is actually the guts of some huge creature, and the ghasts are just worms? Alright, this is going to go absurd. Along with this type of theories grew very old video formats that are now almost extinct and no longer interesting to most people. One of them was the Let's Play format, where players simply built their world and talked to builders and commented on their game. Nowadays, it's necessary to make a montage to keep at least a small audience in a generation of TikTokers who don't perceive information without something on the screen for 15 seconds. In the past, to have a successful channel, you just had to buy a microphone, run Minecraft, and have good charisma. There are more formats today, with the old ones starting to be forgotten and only sometimes appearing, but in a very modified form. They no longer get the former popularity. Servers have also undergone significant changes. Some time ago, servers were just donating dump, where you bought yourself a lord and could create anything you wanted or play on a server where there was more or less developed roleplay. Now, there are political servers where you can create your own country with its population, or servers with developed and mandatory roleplay where you choose your role, a merchant, a fighter, or a homeless individual. Mostly I was the last. But in Minecraft, there's still old servers that have survived the test of time. Of course, they don't have more than 100 people online, but they are preserved on the same very old versions of the game where everything is the same as it was then. The same old textures, the same old music, the same old mechanics of the game. It's not even a sin to shed a tear for something like that. Seems to me that is boring. The vibe is, but the old servers do not have as many mechanics as the new ones. A prime example would be 2B2T, a server that existed for several years on the old version, but for optimization and to increase potential players was recently updated. Many people did not like it, but all in good time and what the server has now. Online had become bigger and mechanics and entertainment are even bigger than it was. Well, to increase the time of the video, let's compare what it was like before and after. This will help us appreciate the changes that many biomes or dungeons have undergone. For example, before villages were all the same and had no unique buildings. Another feature of the old villages was a shadow bug, where blocks would get too dark and only the resolution of the block next to it would help make it normal again. Let's also bring up the water. It was very dark and empty, there was only gravel or sand at the bottom. But now we can have different buildings, ships, and huge fortresses. One of the most beautiful biomes are the coral reefs, and other of them are caves, which have also undergone significant changes in versions 1.17 and 1.18. Before their update, caves were very monotypic and small, and among the most interesting buildings was only an abandoned mine. But after 1.17, we have such a ton of content there. A huge biome with vegetation, flooded caves, and the Warden. But it's worth mentioning that the main disadvantage of such an update. Before, it was very difficult to find diamonds and emeralds. That is because their spawn was less often. Some may even remember that 1 to 11 height was the best for digging them, and such very few people searched the caves for them because the caves were very high from bedrock. Then the minus height was added in the version, so their spawn was significantly increased. With such an increase, the caves themselves became much larger. The biggest looking caves used to be like this one, but now it's this one. Of course, it is much easier to find them now, although diamonds now spawn either very high or very low. Many servers whose main currency was diamonds broke and were forced to end their seasons and start a new one, or try to somehow limit their usage so that it does not create a huge devaluation of the currency. Same with the villagers. These nose devils used to be much more useless than now. You could not choose their profession by yourself, and their assortment was much smaller, with higher prices. But now, you're like a Confederate before the Civil War, locking them up and depriving them of their choice of their profession, because now you decide what he will do, and his traits do not suit you. There's always the most humane way to get rid of him. But listen, is it bad? So many goods and charms. Now it's not just dummies to raid their blacksmith for valuable loot. Now it's a real trade. Look for a cleric. There he is. If you want diamond equipment, a master level blacksmith will help you with that. Does this mean that it's us who have grown up and only feel nostalgic for those times? A few players who used to play now have their own kids, families, and work. Drinking, vaping. All we have to do is watch the players grow up, with ourselves to grow up with them. Maybe we will never go back to those carefree times. All this will be in our memories forever, because the old atmosphere of Minecraft is lost forever. If you liked the video and you want to see more videos like this, then support this video with a like and write your opinion in the comments. It will help us promote the video. If you want to support me financially, here is my Patreon. All the money saved from there will go to improve future videos.